Hello viewers, today I am going to talk about a small but very important component of engine which is called the thermostat. Thermostat is a part of the cooling system of the engine and it helps in maintaining the ideal temperature, ideal working temperature in the engine. Now I have seen that many of my friends and off-roaders who with time of the usage of the vehicle remove the thermostat. Well, people ask me, is it okay to remove the thermostat and drive it without its thermostat or not? I will say, in very hot places, it's a little bit, I will say it's okay, but it's not actually fully safe because in long run it can damage a lot of things in the engine. But in cold places, you need to have a thermostat. You cannot remove it or else you'll end up with a lot of problems. So why people remove the thermostat? Ideally, it's not supposed to be removed. The engine is running well for so many years, and then suddenly starts heating up, or the gauges start showing higher temperature, and they tend to check everything, and then they find that everything is physically working well. Of course, on the first inspection looks working well, but there could be hidden agendas or hidden problems with the engine. Now I'll tell you small examples, like if some component is failing in the engine and then that creates a lot of friction among the parts, heat can go up. Similarly, if you have scales inside that cavity where the coolant is supposed to move through the engine, that will not allow proper heat transfer from the metal to the coolant. If the radiator material is failing, it is not dissipating heat or absorbing heat and throwing out as it should do, then also heat goes up. Some components failing, like that water pump impeller or propeller, whatever you call it, if it's not able to turn properly, if not it's not able to put through water properly, if there is a clogged substance inside the radiator fins, if the fins are dirty or the area where through the air should pass is not clean, and that also can create heating problems. Your thermostat jammed, not opening up, your fan not opening up because either the fan is weak or not being able to run in the proper speed, or it has lost connection with the ECU. Even the temperature sensor, if it's not working, the ECU will never put the fan on. So all these things tend to fail the cooling system. And what we do is that, because it's very expensive to maintain all these things, some of the people in the market, they just advise removal of the thermostat. Now, as I said, in the hot places it's not a problem, but in the cold places it's going to be a big problem. Let's say we are in the cold place now. Now in the Middle East, I think I have seen the lowest temperature was in Saudi Arabia. That maybe there is some other places, but I know Saudi Arabia's temperature is very low during winter. So what will happen in Saudi Arabia if you remove the thermostat? First of all, the ideal temperature will never be achieved in the engine, or it will take a long time to achieve that ideal temperature. So till the ideal temperature is achieved, the ECU will be dumping fuel. Because as you know, when you start the car in the morning, the RPM tends to stay high for a while and then settle down to the ideal RPM of the engine. So why it stays up is because of more fuel being dumped and more RPM to create more RPM, and thus the temperature goes up, or the the oil can move around. Now, when this doesn't happen, the temperature doesn't reach that ideal temperature. The engine temperature doesn't reach the ideal temperature fast, and then the fuel is being more and more fuel is being dumped into the system. If it all burns out well, it's fine. If not, then you have clogged or wet spark plugs. Then more combustion is not happening. You tend to throw out the unburned fuel through the exhaust into the catalytic converter, whereby because of the heat it can combust and explode and create a lot of detonation. Also, you have emission issues because all this unburned fuel is thrown out through the exhaust unburned. Apart from that, you may have vibration in the engine. Small vibrations is okay, but as it keeps on increasing, it will put a lot of load on those engine mounts and rubber components, which will eventually fail, and all these are going to cost you a lot. Well, when it comes to the hot place like other place in Middle East or summer in Saudi Arabia, let's stay in Saudi Arabia. Say it's summer in Saudi Arabia. What will happen if you remove the thermostat? Ideally, not much of a difference initially, but in the long term, you will have a lot of heating problems. First of all, as I told you, that ideal temperature is not maintained. When the ideal temperature is not maintained, you will have issues with fuel mileage, you will have issues with the temperature popping up and down. There will be a lot of expansion and contraction in the metal, which can create stretch marks or warpage, and that will eventually fail the gaskets. And because the temperature is very much fluctuating up and down, there can be a lot of stress on the gaskets and the oil rings. And of course, the AC will not work properly, because AC also is designed to work on a certain temperature. As soon as the temperature goes up, the AC tend to lose its cooling efficiency. Apart from this, what we see is that see, the radiator has fins. Okay, these are the fins, suppose, and the air is passing through it. When there is high flow in the system, the water or the coolant is passing so fast through the tubes or fins that the heat is not being transferred into the air passing through, and thus you reach a higher temperature. This mostly happens when you're on the highways and traveling long distances. So this can happen, which in the long term can damage a lot of components in the engine. And then, because there is, see, the radiator hose are around 2 inch, 2.5 inch, but the passage of the thermostat is hardly 1 inch. So what happens is that when the flow is not restricted, there is so much pressure in the flow that it can eventually burst the tubes, the hoses of the radiator, and it can put a lot of pressure on the head gaskets. They can fail. So things can go wrong in the summer also here. But of course, it is not as much as it can happen in the cold places. So I will always recommend people to find out the actual problem of the heat buildup and try to repair it. I know it's expensive, but that will keep your car more efficient. It will be less polluting the environment. All these things are important. So before you remove the thermostat, please make sure that all the other components are working well. See, there are a lot of things you can do to improve your cooling system, and I believe the performance radiators, the high flow water pumps, and the multiple speed fans, even you have the heavy duty silicone hoses which can take more expansion. But don't remove the thermostat. Use these things and maybe your problem is solved, and your engine's longevity is maintained. So I hope this video is fruitful and informative to you, and before you change or remove your thermostat, please do think about it. Thank you.